Here's a great piece from the BBC. Am I normal with Mona Chalabi? Is it really that bad to marry my cousin? What the Ugh, I can't touch this story with a barge, Paul. Quick, find something else on the BBC to talk about that won't get me demonetised. Youthful surprise sex enthusiasts need help, not condemnation. I should know. I just want to make some easygoing BBC critical content on a nice pleasant Sunday morning, and these are the choices I get. Which one shall I go with? I suppose I'll edit it and pick whichever was funniest. But for the gag before the opening music, is it really that bad to marry my cousin? No, it's not, Mona, it's not. For example, if you're trying to birth the next Michael Phelps and you want someone with tunnel vision and a natural gift for swimming, it can be good, because you're far more likely to give birth to a cycloptic mutant with webbed feet. Right then, I'll cover these both briefly. The first one, it'll be nice and short. Yes, it is really, really, really bad to marry your cousin, you absolute simpleton. The very fact that you're questioning this suggests that you are definitely a product of cousin bumming. Question asked, question answered. You're welcome, Mona. You can have that for now, love. You don't need to see any data, do you? Do you? In case some of you live under a rock, here's a little bit for you. You can get some great statistics from this story, which was covered by the Times of India. Very odd that, because I always thought Indians absolutely loved Pakistanis, you know, they're all people of colour, so surely they all love each other. They're underneath the umbrella of intersectionality. So it's very peculiar that the Indians like telling us this story. However, a quick roll through it, the story said that British Environment Minister at the time, Phil Wallace, said inbreeding amongst that very special snack bar community is leading to a surge in birth defects. And it's the elephant in the room. Too sensitive for anyone to mention. Not the two-headed elephant with 6 arms, not that one. Oh no, that's the other religion, that's the other one. These fellas, the ones who absolutely love rattling the relatives, in fact, I think that could be another t-shirt, can't it? Relative rattling? Is that a term I've just coined? Yeah, I'm keeping that. But anyway, the numbers, right there in black and white. A lot of arranged marriages are with first cousins, and that produces lots of genetic problems in terms of disability, he was quoted as saying by the Sunday Times. Medical research suggests that while regulars at Allen's Snack Bar in the UK are responsible for 3% of all births, they somehow account for 1 in 3 British children born with genetic illnesses, the report said. There you go. Mona. The fact you had to ask this question proves beyond any doubt that rattling your relatives is a terrible idea. Grabbing your ankles and letting Uncle Mustafa donk you on into you on your 14th birthday, that's why you have to ask questions like this. Because you're a plank. And if you can't do basic maths, let me do it for you. If 3% of one group accounts for 33% of all crime, how much more likely are they to commit crime than anyone else? And obviously, Mona, in this instance, the crime is, of course, incest. Turns out you're 11 times more likely to give birth to basket case. Yeah, sloth, if he had a prayer mat, 11 times more likely. That's why you don't rattle your cousins. Anybody with 2 brain cells to rub together wouldn't even beg the question. All right? Let's move on to the next piece of BBC degeneracy. People like Stephen Ireland need help. Not condemnation. I should know. I hired Hugh Edwards. I'm kidding, that bit's not in there. I hired... Who knows who hired Hugh Edwards? All we know is they were all in on it. And Jimmy Savile. And decades of grooming. And putting a big statue of a kiddie fiddler on the front of Broadcasting House. But that's all. At least I think that's all. It's a long time since I've described myself as a... yeah, well, they don't do that very often, do they? Don't walk into Morrison's and go, "Hey, can I have 20 Super Kings and a bottle of Lucas?" I'm a nonce. Yep, love it. Cannot get enough of it. Anyway, where am I? For me, it's triggered by traumatic experiences in childhood. When I was a young boy, my mother used to sit me on her lap and dry me off and fondle my plums. That she's just drying you. My mum dried me when I was a kid. Doesn't mean I've got a copy of 101 Choir Boy Arseholes under my bed, does it? What's this guy talking about? I first acknowledged my abnormality around the age of 15, when I realised I wasn't really into tits. All the lads were interested in women, but not me. Yeah, we know what you were into. There's a nice piece of sympathetic art. I would note that everybody who works on the BBC thinks he's the normal one. Yeah, everyone who works in Broadcasting House looks at that picture and goes, ugh, what are those two weirdos reading Playboy for? As I grew, I realised it'd give me a lonely life. I was scared if people found out about my terrible thoughts, it could lead to violence. Yeah, well, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure that one out, do you? I used to feel uncomfortable if I saw people with children. Yeah, well, you would have done. I was sitting in the front room, all of my mates were cooking the evening meal, and I don't think they'd realised I'd come downstairs. They were chatting away, and one of my friends said something like, I think Jack's interested in boys. Jack, were you one of them fellas who always used to wear very tight shorts, have a mullet and NHS specs, sort of wear white sandals and just basically look like a pedo? Like you just one of them. That's what it was like in the 80s. You could always ping them just by looking at them. You'd be walking to school, brushing past normal blokes, walking along with their hands in the pockets, carrying the newspaper, walking a dog, and there'd always be one with very thick glasses, a strangely pasty complexion, and very tight shorts, and every one of you just knew by looking at him. Definitely a member of the Michael Jackson fan club. It's just painfully obvious with some people, isn't it? I went to the university GP the next day. I said, I'm a pedo. Can this be cured? The conventional view of it is that it's an incurable condition, but this doctor laughed. He said, of course it's curable. It was a huge relief. Yeah, I can see the punchline here already. Of course it's curable. Well, hang on. Did this doctor steal my idea? Remember that video I made like a week ago? What was it called then? The equality brick. I can't even remember. Is he pinching my idea? Of course it's curable. Here is my brick of healing. I knew I should have patented it. After treatment, I was a very different person. I even developed a sexual interest in women. This was liberating. Hang on. This is pro-conversion therapy, isn't it? And then you get to the bottom few paragraphs and it says, oh yeah, I would never have abused a child and I just got some therapy and now I'm massively into tits. Easy. I love that. What a brilliant piece. Follow these links if you've ever been affected by sexual abuse. Unbelievable. So do you know what this triple P is? Triple P, pedo puffies, right? That's what the story is. Do you know what this is? This is a pro-conversion therapy story. Again, with the mind-melting hypocrisy of the BBC. California's definitely Mexican. Yeah, definitely. But Ukraine is definitely not Russian. Makes loads of sense. Open borders is good. Definitely. Unless a load of English colonists turn up in North America. Then open borders is terrible. You can't have that. Locking up Lucy Connolly's great, because she's mean. But locking up people who protest about Palestine, that's terrible. They're only voicing their opinion. And then today we get, after 10 years of them telling us that conversion therapy should be illegal and it's harmful and hateful, now we get the Triple P article, conversion therapy is mint if you're trying to turn Gary Glitter into Mick Jagger. I love that. Makes loads of sense. Anyway, that was hilarious. Easy. Once again, thank God for the existence of the BBC. It allows me to create comical pieces with no effort. Don't need a script. Just sit here and read the absolute drivel that these maniacs pump out on a daily basis. Let me know in the comments what you think. Please, if you were formerly in Boy George's dungeon for a few weeks, you absolutely love getting rinsed by 20 blokes and crawling out the cellar all crusty. You love that. And then you talk to a doctor, a nice left-wing doctor who promoted excellent, wonderful conversion therapy. And now you're madly in love with BAPs. Can't get enough of seeing them. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about a wonderful success story from something that was bad yesterday, but is good today. And I'm sure on Monday it'll be bad again. That's the world we live in. Thanks for tuning in, ladies and gents. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you all soon. Toodle pip. Cheers.